Brother Breza, is there anything else you need to share with me about turtles here in the Winona area?
Finished.
Oh, you're not finished.
Turtle stew was one of the survival foods. Then we had pickled fish, which is another survival food. Had no job, had no income. Drop a line in the river, you could eat for free.
Yeah.
However, if you fished along this shore on this side of the river, you would catch mostly sheephead, catfish, yeah, what else?
You do catch the occasional smallmouth and occasional walleye.
No, walleye would be, well, walleye you could sell.
Okay.
So you'd get rid of that. And with the walleye, you would take the head off it because the rich people don't want the head. You'd make soup.
And walleye cheeks.
Walleye cheeks.
Yeah.
Were in the soup. Yeah, good stuff. Ribi zupa, it was called.
Oh my Lord, is that?
Just means fish. Ribi. Zupa is soup.
Yeah, but of course, I'm always wondering what language we're talking about. Are we Kashubian?
Polish, of course.
That's
the common parlance here in Winona.
Well, yeah, but did they tend to speak actually more Kashubian or more Polish here?
Because that's Polish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a mix here.
In Winona, there's a mixture anyway because they all thought they were Polish.
Right.
They never talked about being Kashubian. They didn't pay any attention to that.
But you gave the impression that you went back to Kashubia and you shared some of the songs or things that you'd learned or sayings, and somebody at one point said, that's not Polish.
That's Kashubian.
That's Kashubian.
It was a good learning experience.
Well, are we done with the survival food discussion?
No.
Okay.
We also had cholina. That's peasant food because that would be made with duck's blood.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Oh boy.
Cholina.
And they put vinegar in it so it won't coagulate. You'll go down and it won't coagulate in your veins. Won't coagulate in your veins. But
Oh, you got to butcher it. First you got to render the duck unconscious.
Yeah.
Paul and I did that right here in the back room of the museum.
Wow.
And then you had
You want to bleed it while it's alive type of thing.
But you don't want to torment the silly thing.
No.
So you knock him out and then slit its throat, hold it over a little pan. One guy is doing the stirring while the other guy is holding the duck and dripping the blood in there.
Stirring with vinegar at that point?
With vinegar.
Vinegar right away?
Right away. Yeah.
Survival food.
No, that was peasant food.
Okay, what's the difference between peasant food and survival?
Peasant food you'd have to pay a couple pennies for.
Oh, okay.
You had to have some money to get a duck.
So you're saying that survival food is not only something you would eat or use when you didn't have money, but it would also be something that you couldn't get money necessarily for.
You couldn't
get money for survival food. You couldn't get money. You couldn't sell some of these things.
Right. You could if it was a pike, but you couldn't if it was a sheephead.
Sheephead, which I always called silver bleeders. So they're very silver, and they bleed a lot when you catch them.
Yeah. And they're sometimes called a drum.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and they have lucky stones in their head. If you ever
click, 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 click. I think I've heard about this.
Yeah.
They make sounds.
Yeah. And they're the prettiest little flat pearl-looking stone, but they're flat.
Huh.
And they're technicolor in the sun.
We caught those on this once fishing on the St. Croix when I was in college, and it was kind of like we didn't know what these things were, but we called them silver bleeders because they were silver.
Silver and
they tended to. I never knew a fish that you would unhook that would bleed like that.
Oh.
But they would.
Nothing that unusual, but they would. Yeah, they'd make a little mess in the bottom of the boat or bottom of your ice box. But silver bass, same way.
Yep.
They'd be bony, but they're even more silver than a sheephead.
And that's a nice thing about the river here, because it's a border water. You could fish more than one line
Right.
on the border, and we would catch multiple silver bass. You hit a school of them.
If you ran into a school of them,
Yeah.
you could fill a box full and just keep on going
Yeah.
real quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look for that ever since I've been an adult. I've never run into a school of them since I was a little kid.
I have trolling on Lake Pepin.
Oh, yeah?
We would have multiple lines out with behind the boat trolling, and they're just skipping on the surface. After they get caught, you'd have 2 or 3 or 4 out there skipping on the surface, reeling them in as fast as you could when you hit a school.
That's silver bass, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to see them right behind the dam, but we never fished for them because that's the kind of fish that you'd have to pickle. You wouldn't fillet them or fry them or anything like that. And I don't like fish because I had fish 3 times a week as a kid.
Yeah.
I would tell my dad to go to the country and trade them in for chickens.
Yeah.
And
Now, my friend always has a saying when we would catch some sort of variety of fish when we're out fishing. And he says, "Oh, those are really good this time of the year. They don't mush up in the pan."
Oh.
Which makes me ask you then, seasonally, when you catch certain species, were they better than other times? Like you would say, they would mush up in the pan.
Yeah, we would go by some of the lake fish. If it's a smaller lake, it doesn't have real deep, cold water. In those lakes, we wouldn't take perch and even sunfish, and they'd be wormy in the summertime. Yeah,
I'm not used to that.
yeah.
The most disgusting fish I ever caught were from the shore on Lake Superior were lake trout, because lake trout can get so oily, some of them, and the flesh can be really yellow.
Ooh.
So we caught these trout. We were so proud of ourselves. We invited all these people over for a dinner. We baked these trout. And by the time they came out of the oven, there was so much liquid that had come out of that flesh. They were just covered in oil, and half of them were yellow. And I tell you, Father Breza, it's not easy to convince a guest that, oh, this is really good. You're going to like this.
For sure.
Yeah, when it's yellow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be another type of survival. But a guy between Houston and Hoka at Mound Prairie, he pickles not just the fish, but he pickles heart, tongue, and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he had on hand that day. So he gave me a quart of fish and a quart of vegetables and a quart of heart. And the people here loved the pickled heart. It all disappeared. So
Well, you know what I always say? You gotta have heart, lungs
miles and miles
no
of heart.
lungs and spleen and liver and heart.
Oh boy, brings back fond memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what's the last? Oh, the last peasant food was Polish rye bread,
Ooh.
and it's usually fixed in an outdoor oven.
Uh-huh.
But you can put it in your oven in the house too if you had a wood stove. And you take just regular white flour and you'd add some liquid to it. Could be skim milk or whatever. And you throw in a handful of rye flour for each batch. Now what a handful is beyond me. Half a cup, I don't know.
Into white, because we make it at the mill, and our ratio of rye to white flour is like either 3-to-1 or 4-to-1.
Yeah, but not us. I'm talking Polish rye bread.
So so you had white flour mixed in with it,
Yeah.
but how?
No, white flour. You have rye flour mixed in with the white. The
Yeah.
white is the base.
Right.
Has most of it.
But what do you think the amount of rye to white might
It
be?
seems like about 1 to 50.
Just a touch of rye.
Yeah. Then all it does to the bread is has a slight tan color.
Okay.
And they form it into loaves without a pan.
Okay.
And
Like we do at the mill.
Yeah, and you get this, and they bake it for at least an hour and a half, sometimes
Lord.
longer than that. And
Low temperature then. Can't be very hot.
can be real hot.
300
no.
or...
Except it comes out golden brown, and I tell them you could kill somebody with a loaf of this bread. Self-defense.
And you can maybe even use it to get a little traction, put it in the trunk of your car in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, my dad would cut the ends off. That's what he wanted, the crusty end. Put butter on it and eat it with his coffee. Oh, he said, this is so good.
Well, you see, now you're not alone. I have my mom made a rye that was her bread, and it wasn't. It was a typical kind of 1/3 or 1/4 rye.
Oh.
But I think it was also a sweet one. It was with molasses, so it was,
boy.
you know, it had more of a brownish look.
Yeah.
But she didn't add the caraway seeds and all that thing to make it taste like a pumpernickel or anything. It was
that's
just
closer to my cheese bread.
Yeah, it was just a nice rye, nice moist bread.
Yeah. Molasses does nice things for flour.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is the last thing that you would add to this while you're mixing it is spook yeast.
Spook yeast?
Yes. This yeast started, we don't know when, but it's at least 120 years old. Because their grandma and great-grandmother had this. They still have it in their basement. You have to feed it about once a month.
All right, it's a sourdough is what it is.
Basically, that's what everybody says.
It's a starter. And
Yeah.
all right, but it's sour then in flavor.
No,
It's not.
it doesn't make